The Kingdom of Asturias. Royal Guard, sword cav general. Decent charge bonus. He has the 50 melee damage sword, so this guy can do a lot of damage, especially against enemy sword infantry. Also, some precursors with a bonus versus cav, which helps a bit against cavalry, but you don't want this guy to take enemy cav head on. A special thing about the Asturias Kingdom is that they have the cheap levy spears, they have the standard spears. Nothing much to say about them. But then they have the Tribesmen and the ambushers. And the ambushers have guerrilla deployment. They have the ability to throw javelins with the bonus versus large on them. They don't have much in the way of armor. They don't have a very low missile block chance. But you can do some interesting things with these guys. With guerrilla deployment in forests. Trying to get enemy cav in there and then just showering them with the ambushers. They are a bit expensive though. The Tribesmen are an interesting unit that, with rapid advance and the javelins, can potentially be used in a multiple infantry type of scenario, multiple infantry lines, so to ward off enemy cav charges. Then they have standard cheap swordsmen, just a decent overall unit. Armored swordsmen, more tanky swordsmen, and then the Royal Guardsmen, even tankier than the standard swordsmen, but you do pay a lot for them, and I have a hard time seeing where this unit fits, because it's so expensive. It does have a very nice missile block chance, it does have nice armor, but it is wholly lacking in offensive capabilities. Levy skirmish, skirmish, and noble skirmish. So the levy skirmishers have essentially very similar stats to the standard skirmishers. Not a whole lot of difference between them, just a bit of morale. Essentially the same unit. Then we have the noble skirmishers. Very low melee damage, I don't quite get that at the price. Should at least give these guys a spear. Decent charge bonus, melee defense and all of that. Then they have the 90 missile damage javelins. So these guys will kill cavalry really quickly, but they only have 5 ammunition. And then we have the Iberian cav, very, very cheap sword cav. These guys can be super annoying when chasing skirmishers, attacking light infantry. Won't do too well against cavalry due to the fact that they have spears. But if you're able to use both of their precursors, they can pave the way for other cav units. Now, a significant problem for the Asturias roster is that their cav is all sword cav. So the Royal cav will do well against enemy swordsmen. The Royal Knights will do well against enemy swordsmen. They both have precursors, but they are sword cav, so they do have the shortcomings of sword cav in cav on cav engagements. Now the Raider cav and the Ginites, similar to the Berber units, very light, 5 ammo. Difference here is that they have 70 missile damage and 90 missile damage here. So the Ginites will do a lot more damage than the Raider cav against enemy cav, but they also come at a significant price increase. So let's have a look at the units, and you can see the medieval flavor starting to make itself apparent here on the units. Approaching knight man-at-arms type of stuff. Okay, here we go. The General, Royal Guard cav, Levy spears, and the color scheme here is this is where things get a bit too flamboyant and too gaudy for my tastes. Tribesmen, ambushers, swords, armored swords, Royal Guards. These guys look pretty medieval. Levy skirmish, skirmish, noble skirmish. If these guys had a better weapon, I would bring them every time, but as it is, they're a bit iffy. Iberian cav, nice little cheap unit. A Royal cav, Royal Knights, Raider cav, and Ginites. So once again, a small selection of units, and swords being one of the strong suits of Asturias. But that's a bit of an issue for them. Swords are not that great anymore, and only having sword cav could be a challenge. They need to do a lot of damage to enemy cav with their skirmishers, and with their light, like units like their ambushers, they have to use those units really, really well, because they don't have any archers, they don't have any slingers. They will rely on the they will rely on javelins to get the killing done against enemy cavalry, and that can be a challenge because they have very short range. But if you use units like Genites, Raider Cav, the precursors on the knights, together with units like ambushers, then your cavalry can go in and expect to win the fights. But the enemy spear cav will absolutely have to take damage before that happens. Strength and honor.